Greetings and salutations, YouTube. What's going on with you? Welcome to DizzyVille. It's your man, Dizzy Hendrix, aka Normal Weirdo. I might seem a little distracted right now. That's because I kind of am. But yeah. So, a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Chicago. On the southeast side, right off Pill Hill, 90th and Euclid, right off Jeffrey. And moved to the suburbs in '86 out to South Holland. Me and my family, one of the first black families in the neighborhood that we stayed in. It was predominantly white. It was an experience for me. It wasn't the first time I was around white people. I went to a magnet school called Nino's Heroes. That was the first time I would say I was probably exposed to like Latinos, though. There were white people there, of course, but mainly it was Latinos, and that was the first time I had been around Mexicans. Uh, but this story, like I said, is about when I moved down south. It was me and my mother. Now, if I've not mentioned it, I'm not an only child. I have an older sister and a younger brother. Neither of which is from my father, both by my mother. Rest in peace, mama. Now, my sister, I did not find out about her until I believe it was 1994. You know, mother told me I had an older sister, and I'm not gonna lie, I was happy that I had an older sister that I could meet. But I felt some type of way as far as feeling like my mother had kept something from me. Like, man, why no one ever told me? My dad never told me I had an older. Why would y'all keep it? So I felt like that, but whatever. So we're gonna fast forward to 1995. I had graduated high school that year, and say in December of 1995. Now I was 18 by this time. And so, out of high school, I had a job. I was working for UPS, and I was going to school, Lincoln Technical Institute. So I called my mother, and I just told her, I'm like, Mama, I want to meet my sister. And when my mother said this next line, I didn't, think anything of it, but she was like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm very sure, of course. I want to meet my sister, blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay, I believe I can find her. I'm going to make some calls and see if. So a little while later, Mama called me back. Nah, I don't know if it was Mama or if it was my sister that called me. But whatever. I ended up speaking to her. We spoke on the phone for like 3 hours. And my mother and I, we made plans to go down there and visit Phenix City, Alabama. Now, we took a Greyhound bus to get down there. This isn't the first time I was ever out of state or away from home. But it's the first time I remember going anywhere with my mother. So it's me and my mom. And we go. Take the bus to down there. And we get to Atlanta. And we're waiting on our next bus. And, Mama talked to my sister on the phone. And long story short, my sister and my brother-in-law, Joe West, shout out to my brother-in-law, Joe West, um, they had come picked us up from the bus terminal in Atlanta. So we make this ride back down. It was probably supposed to be an hour and a half drive, but we made it in like 45 minutes because, you know, we know how to drive, we know what we're doing, and we getting the hell up out of there. So everything was cool, you know, we chilling. Um, and then at what point was that? I don't know, but it's you know, we was there visiting, so it was cool. Now I'd say the day we were supposed to come back home, what, maybe an hour or two before our bus left, my mother hit me with the, I don't want to go back. Shh, you ain't said ain't nothing but a thing. We ain't got to go back. And mind you, I'm 18 now, so I can make that decision for myself. Now, in case I've never let anyone know, um, my father had custody of me. So this is why, you know, this story kind of seems like this. So my father had custody of me, and he was pretty protective. I grew up in a household with my grandmother, and my grandfather. Now, my grandfather passed in 1991. Rest in peace, Louis Fred Mundy. Um, but I ain't gonna lie, I was sheltered, I would say, growing up. Um, I wasn't baby, but I was sheltered. Like, I caught ass whippings growing up. Now that I appreciate all of them, I'm glad I caught them. So I understood discipline and all that, but I was being down south. That was the opportunity I had to be able to get away and have some freedom. So yeah, I didn't hesitate. I did not hesitate with the decision that yeah, mama, we can stay. So like I say, when my mother said, she didn't want to go back, I'm like, cool. Twofold with that though. Now, like I said, my father raised me. I grew up with him, and I saw my mother on every other weekend. So I've never been that far away from my mother. I couldn't come back to Chicago and leave my mother way down south. Like I just couldn't do it. I I, I couldn't be that far away from my mother, and I said, now this is what made the move hard. My younger brother, when my mother and my stepfather split up, I might get into that story later on. But when they split up, uh, my brother was gonna leave with my mother, but my stepfather told my brother if he left, there's no need for him to keep the dog. He was gonna get rid of the dog, and that was gonna be that. And my mother couldn't take the dog because she was not moving into her own place. So to make sure that the dog had a place to stay, my brother decided he was gonna stay with my stepfather. So that made it real difficult. Yeah, now I'm an emotional person, so me being away from my brother was real tough, man. You know, had some days crying because I missed him, but somebody had to be there to look after our mother. But the relationship with my sister, it seemed like it was good, but I feel like my sister had resentment towards our mother. Now, she had confirmed this, but this is what um, this is my theory because now my mother had given my sister up for adoption. The circumstances which she said she had gotten pregnant led her to make that decision, and then she moved to Chicago. So I feel like my sister had resentment towards my mother. Um, our relationship was whatever. Like in my head, I wanted us to be like this. You know, we were whatever. You know, uh, and fast forward to my mother passing in the year 2000, and I was like, to say I was devastated, like it's beyond an understatement. I was like just taking me, plucking me, and dropping me in the middle of outer space. I just felt like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. It was just horrible for me. And all I had was my sister. Now, when my mother passed, she left me two life insurance policies for $10,000 a piece. Now, I didn't have an ID at the time, so I was unable to cash those checks, and I did not have a bank account. So my sister was like, sign them over to me, and just give you the money. That's what we did. Signed both of them over to my sister, and out of that, we paid for my mother's funeral. Uh, Paid off my probation. Paid, got caught up on my child support. So, and just giving money here and there. I say I spent about probably $11,000 out of that money. Now, when I say I spent 11,000, that's including the funeral, all the other expenses I mentioned. And also, my sister had bought me a car with that money. It was a Chevy Cavalier. She probably paid like 1,500 for it, whatever. Um, so that's what it was. Now in my head, of course, I had plans for what I was gonna do with the money. But my sister would come to me and like, hey, I need to borrow this amount here. Can I borrow this? I'm gonna pay you back. Cool. Can I borrow this? I'm gonna pay you back. It's cool. Now, with that being said, the house me and my mother was living in, I let it go. I couldn't be in the house, so I didn't want to keep it. So I ended up moving in with my sister, and I was and my little cousin, mama, her stepson, no nephew, not cousin, nephew. So I had ate a cupcake, Twinkie, or whatever, and I left the wrapper in there, not intentionally, but I did leave the wrapper in there, and ants had came in the room. And based off that, my sister decided to put me out of her house. So now I'm homeless. But I do have a car, so I was sleeping in my car sometimes. I had to sleep outside sometimes, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I could. Ain't no biggie. Wasn't like I was out for like months. You know, it wasn't long. A few days, a week. And my oldest children's mother, her grandmother, let me stay with her. She told me, Logan, because you know what I'm saying? That's when, what I was going by, what I went by when I stayed down south. She was like, Logan, I want you to come stay with me, until whatever, because I just can't have you out here in the streets. I can't, your mama wouldn't, it's like I can't, your mama, no, I just can't do it, so that's where I went to. I never got my own place because that was one of the things I was gonna do with the money, get my own place. Didn't happen like that, so I believe I ended up probably with no. What it was is that I got ended up dating this female and I moved in with her. Like just bouncing place to place until I decided to come back to Chicago because once my mother passed, it was hectic for me. Um, my mother passed. I was in a real dark place, and being in a spot where I had no one. Yeah, I had children down south, but my children's mother wasn't. She wasn't about right. You know, my children's mother wasn't. She didn't have my best interests at heart. Now, at this time, I was young as shit. I was young as shit. My children's mother was my first love. As far as first female I was really truly in love with. But yeah, when I moved down south, I equate those years because I came back in 2001. So we'll say I was down there for roughly 6 years. And I like to equate that to that was my life experience. So that's like me going to college. I learned a lot, had a lot of experiences. Um, yeah, man. Like when I stayed down south, that was a wonderful part of my life. I got some. I got a couple of interesting stories from when I was down there. You know. So with that being said, my experience down south has very much, man, was a benefit to me. I needed that experience in my life. Like I said, that was like me going to college. I grew up. I became a man because I went through the things that, man, I lost a child and I lost my mother. You know, those experiences that will, either fold you up or make you stand strong. So I want to say, you know, just a piece of my brain, man. Just story was on my bird, so I wanted to put it out there for you. You dig? Skilly bang, skilly bang. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, share. I'm gonna try to check out the comments, see what's what. Like I said, man, all this is just this is therapy for me. I had things that bugged the shit out of me, and I've been, a psychiatrist. I don't think I need medication. I don't want medication. I don't want medication. I'd rather do this right here. Read whatever comments people leave, and that'll be mine. So y'all do me that favor, and in the future, I'm gonna try to get better at this. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to make my page more legit looking, and less like I'm just simply vlogging. I guess I am vlogging, whatever. I don't even know what vlogging is. It's a word that I heard. You dig? But yeah, I'm rambling right now, bro. So I'm about to get up out of here, man. Alright, bro. Yo, like I said, man, it's your boy Dizzy Hendrix, aka the normal weirdo. You did, bro. So y'all be out there. Y'all be good. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? Once I figure out what I'm doing on this piece, I do a few reaction videos. Do a little something, something. Make little videos. Try to entertain the world. Try to entertain the masses. That's what I do, baby. You dig? So, with that being said, I'm out this bitch, man.